Good morning, I'm Trevor Thompson. Governor Greg Abbott is in Uvalde, Texas this morning to speak about the tragic mass shooting that happened at an elementary school there yesterday. At least 21 people were killed by a gunman, including 19 children and 2 teachers. Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz also there in attendance. Let's go live out there now. Here is the governor.
They're filled with laughter, innocence, and joy. Their love is a gift that parents get to unwrap every single day. Parents in Uvalde had that gift taken away from them, stolen by a demented person. Days before yesterday, when these children were at school, some were receiving awards for perfect attendance. These kids will never attend school again. To say the least, Uvalde has been shaken to its core. Families are broken apart. Hearts are forever shattered. All Texans are grieving with the people of Uvalde, and people are rightfully angry about what has happened. Events like this, they tear at the fabric of a community. Our job is to ensure that the community is not going to be ripped apart. All Texans must come together and support the families who have been affected by this horrific tragedy. What they need now more than ever is our love. What they need is uplifting from all of our fellow Texans and all of our fellow Americans. And let me emphasize something that I know you all know. But the reality is, as horrible as what happened, it could have been worse. The reason it was not worse is because law enforcement officials did what they do. They showed amazing courage by running toward gunfire for the singular purpose of trying to save lives. And it is a fact that because of their quick response, getting on the scene, being able to respond to the gunman and eliminate the gunman, they were able to save lives. Unfortunately, not enough. But I want to make sure that everybody knows, all of the law enforcement agencies and groups that are involved and were involved in this process. The Texas Rangers are leading the investigation, and they are supported by the Texas Department of Public Safety Highway Patrol, the Texas Department of Public Safety Criminal Investigative Division, DPS Aircraft, DPS Intelligence Counter and Terrorism Division, DPS Crime and Victim Support. They're also supported by the Texas Division of Emergency Management, the FBI, as well as multiple federal partners, including the DEA, ATF, HSI, and Border Patrol. And then, of course, the valiant local officials, the Uvalde Sheriff's Department, Uvalde Police Department, Uvalde Independent School District Police, Uvalde County Constables, Uvalde Mayor, the County Judge, Uvalde District Attorney's Office, local public works and surrounding police department, and the San Antonio Police and Fire Department also. Let me walk you through some of the facts of what has happened. There's been a lot of things that have been said. Some are correct, some are incorrect. Let me tell you the best information that we have at this time, understanding, very importantly, that this is an ongoing investigation, and ongoing investigations often reveal new information as those investigations progress. The first thing that happened was that the gunman shot his grandmother in the face. She then contacted police. The gunman fled, and as he was fleeing, he had an accident just outside of the elementary school, and he ran into the school. Officers with the Consolidated Independent School District, they approached the gunman and engaged with the gunman at that time. The gunman then entered a back door and went down 2 short hallways and then into a classroom on the left-hand side. The gunman entered into that classroom, and the classroom was connected internally to another classroom. Border Patrol, Consolidated ISD officers, police, sheriffs, and DPS officers converged on that classroom, and a Border Patrol officer killed the gunman. As I said, Texas Rangers are leading the investigation, joined by federal, state, and local law enforcement officials. At this time, we know that 19 children have lost their lives. 2 faculty members lost their lives. In addition to that, there are 17 people who are injured, but their injuries are not life-threatening. All family members of all of these students and faculty members have been contacted and informed about the circumstances. Officials are working with parents to ensure that their parents are going to be able to see their children. Parents should contact victim services at the county fairplex. We know that there are parents still striving to make a connection. All parents are welcome and urged to contact victim services at the county fairplex. The gunman was 18 years old and reportedly a high school dropout. Reportedly, there has been no criminal history identified yet. He may have had a juvenile record, but that is yet to be determined. There was no known mental health history of the gunman. He used one weapon, which was an AR-15, using 223 rounds. There was no meaningful forewarning of this crime other than what I'm about to tell you. As of this time, the only information that was known in advance was posted by the gunman on Facebook approximately 30 minutes before reaching the school. The first post was to the point of, he said, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The second post was, "I shot my grandmother." The third post, maybe less than 15 minutes before arriving at the school, was, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school." I mentioned that during the shootout that took place at the school, in addition to the students and the faculty, there were 3 officers who were injured who were all remain in good condition. 1 deputy sheriff lost a daughter in that school. Before coming out here, we had a long discussion with law enforcement at all levels. We had a discussion with community leaders, elected officials. And I asked the sheriff and others an open-ended question, and got the same answer from the sheriff as well as from the mayor of Uvalde. The question was, what is the problem here? And they were straightforward and emphatic. They said, we have a problem with mental health illness in this community. And then they elaborated on the magnitude of the mental health challenges that they're facing in the community and the need for more mental health support in this region. I want to make sure everybody understands the mental health services that are available at this time, with me making one clarifying point in advance that I'm going to redouble down in the aftermath. Whenever anything as shocking and extraordinary and disturbing as this event occurs, there is an urgent need for everybody affected to access mental health. I cannot be more emphatic than saying with great urgency, everybody in this community, I mean everybody, the victims, the families, family members, friends, the law enforcement involved, but the entire community is in utter shock about this. Some physical wounds that were sustained by the officers, they're going to heal in the coming days. The mental and emotional wounds are far harder to see and last far longer. The state of Texas, working with federal and local officials and agencies, we're going to be here for a long, long time. And one key point that we will focus on is making sure that everybody in this community has the access they need for as long as they need it to address with the mental and emotional health care needs that they have. I want to list various agencies and make sure these are made available to the public. The mental health services currently available are from victim services from across the area, from federal, state, and local levels, including the Family Resource Center at the Uvalde County Fairplex. Schools have crisis teams at the Uvalde Civic Center. They provide wraparound services for families who are affected. The Texas Child Mental Health Consortium, created by the state legislature in 2019, is available to assist. The Bluebonnet Children's Advocacy Center is available to provide services for children. The Texas Health and Human Services Commission is on site and will be available for ongoing provision of services. The Texas Education Agency is providing supplemental counseling services. The Texas Department of Public Safety Counseling is providing counseling services for law enforcement. And the FBI is also bringing in mental health services for law enforcement. It cannot be overemphasized the importance of law enforcement officers, all of them, seeking out and obtaining this mental health counseling. The District Attorney's Office for Victim Services has a phone number available for all victims, and candidly, the entire community, in a way, is a victim here. And I was provided their number to give out to you publicly. This is the number for the District Attorney's Office for Victim Services. The number is 830-278-2916. And at this time, I will pass the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Governor Abbott, I have to say something.
Excuse me.
The time
Excuse me.
to stop this
Excuse me.
was after Santa Fe High School.
Sit down. Don't pull a stunt.
Was after El Paso.
Sit down and don't play this
Stop
stuff.
the next. shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No,
you are offering
you
us
need to get
nothing.
his ass out of here.
You
This
said
isn't
this
the
is
place
not
to talk to,
predictable.
so-
This is totally predictable when you choose
Sir, you're
not
out of
to
line.
do anything. to
Sir,
save the
you are
kids
out of
in
line.
the state.
Baby,
I'm standing
sir,
up for the
you
kids
are
in
out
the
of line.
state
Please
to
leave
stop
this
this from
auditorium.
happening
So you
again.
can exit. You can exit. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
This is not the place to do that.
Check, check. Okay, we are up. Excuse me for the mic check. I just want to let you know that if you are listening in right now, it appears that we have a reporter. That's who it appears to be. I am not exactly sure who it is at this time. They have gone up. Oh, actually, that appears to be Beto O'Rourke. That's Beto O'Rourke. That's Beto O'Rourke. That is Beto O'Rourke. Hang on one second. Beto O'Rourke went up to the stage and actually asked Governor Greg Abbott how many more times we were going to see this. We are going to try to see if we can get a better shot of him. Excuse me. At first we thought that was a reporter, but I am now trying to get out of the auditorium. I'm trying to see if I can catch up with Beto O'Rourke, who we thought was originally a reporter. I'm going to see if my photojournalist can also... I think he's going to stay there for now. I'm going to see if I can get Beto. If you guys cannot hear me, please let me know. But again, Beto O'Rourke just going up to the stage. We were unaware that he was actually in attendance. I'm going to see if I can catch up with him.
There's no words that
Excuse me,
anybody
the mic-
shouting
it's a
from
little
here
off.
can do anything. To heal
He
those
went to
broken
Santa Fe
hearts.
High School after kids were
We
killed
all,
in their classrooms.
every
Told the
Texan,
parents he would do something.
every
Nothing.
American,
He came to my
has a
hometown of El Paso.
responsibility.
After 23 people
Where
were
we
slaughtered,
need to focus
he said he was going
not
to do
on
something.
ourselves and
He
our
did nothing. In
agendas.
fact, the only
We need
thing
to
he
focus
did
on
was make it
healing
easier to
and hope
The only thing he did was
that
make
we
it
can
easier to
provide
carry
to
a
those
gun in
who
public.
have suffered
And he
unconscionable
no background,
damage to
no
their
training,
lives and loss
no
of life.
vetting whatsoever. You know,
We need
he
all
talked
of
about that this was
in this
evil.
one moment in time.
The only thing evil is what he continues to do
aside
to the people
personal agendas.
of this state. He
Think of
says
somebody
this
other
was
than
predictable.
ourselves.
It was totally
Think about the people who were hurt.
This will continue to
And
happen
help those
when
who
you
have been
continue to
hurt.
have a governor who will not stand up for the people of Texas. His only interest is the gun lobby. He's scheduled to speak at the NRA convention this Friday in Houston, Texas, just days after these kids were slaughtered here in Uvalde. They were slaughtered at Santa Fe High School, at Sutherland Springs, in Midland, Odessa, in El Paso, Texas. First mass shootings in U.S. history here in this state in the last 5 years. He was governor for every one of them. And after every one of these, he holds a press conference just like this. And I wish to hell, when he came to El Paso, someone would have stood up and held him to account and confronted him and shocked the conscience of this state into doing something, because if we do nothing, we will continue to see this year after year, school after school, kid after kid. This one is on all of us. It's on every single one of us to do something. So I'm here to stand up for the people of Texas. That's why I'm
mental
here.
health was broken here. He said
We
it's
are
mental
50th.
health only.
We are
He didn't
50th.
mention guns.
We are 50th in the nation in mental health care access. 50th. There are only 50 states in the nation. We are dead last. The #1 provider of mental health care services under Greg Abbott in the state of Texas is the county jail system in the state of Texas. The largest inpatient mental health care facility in the state of Texas is the Harris County Jail in downtown Houston, Texas. He's refused to expand Medicaid, which would bring $10 billion a year, including mental health care access for people who need it. He's refused to champion red flag laws. When somebody says that they are having trouble, that they may kill somebody, they may kill themselves, a red flag law would protect the public. He's refused to support safe storage laws so young people cannot get their hands on their parents' guns. He's refused to support a ban on AR-15s and AK-47s. This 18-year-old who just turned 18 bought an AR-15 and took it into an elementary school and shot kids in the face and killed them. Why are we letting this happen in this country? Why is this happening in this state? Year after year, city after city. This is on all of us if we do not do something, and I am going to do something, and I'm not alone. The people of Texas are with us. The majority of the people of Texas are with us, but we've got to stand up to this, or we just accept this theater and business as usual, and we accept the next shooting. We could have stopped this If we had stood up after Santa Fe High School, if we had stood up after El Paso, we are going to stop the next one. We're standing up right here in Uvalde, Texas right now. That's why I'm here. That's what the people of Texas want right now. That's what we're going to focus on.
There are parents and guardians. There are parents and guardians who are nervous about what can happen to other schools. Other schools. They're worried about other schools.
Podemos hacer algo y necesitamos hacer todo lo que es posible para prevenir estas masacres que tenemos en cada comunidad. Sutherland Springs, Santa Fe High School en el condado acerca de Harris, en El Paso también. Tenemos el poder, pero necesitamos hacer algo en este momento. Si no hacemos algo, vamos a continuar con las masacres como la masacre que tuvimos aquí en Uvalde en esta semana aquí. Es algo muy triste, pero no aceptamos no es el futuro del Estado. Tenemos el poder cambiar el futuro. Por eso estoy aquí.
Pero parents of the victims have been talking to us saying they're scared for other schools. There are things going on social media.
We owe those parents our prayers, and I'm praying for them, and I've called them, and I've talked to them today. We owe them our help and our assistance. We'll do everything we can to raise the resources to make sure that we pay for funerals, for any needs that they may have, but we owe those parents action. I've talked to the parents in El Paso. I've talked to the parents in Santa Fe High School. I've talked to the parents in Midland, Odessa. They want us to do something right now. I want us to do something right now. We can do something right now. But if we continue to accept this, then it is on us. It's not just the governor's fault. It is on us. I'm not going to accept it. So I'm here. I'm calling attention to this, and I'm asking all Texans of good conscience, and I could care less whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, to stand up right now for yourself, for your kids, for our families, and to stop the next shooting just like this one.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time?
An 18-year-old kid who doesn't have a driver's license can't buy a beer.
He should not have been able to buy an AR-15. Right there. Do you want a solution? Stop selling AR-15s in the state of Texas. You want a solution? Have universal background checks. We don't have them. You want a solution? Red flag laws or extreme risk protection orders, which stop a shooting before it happens. You want a solution? Safe storage laws. Those are 4 solutions that have been brought up by the people of Texas. Each one of those has broad bipartisan support right now. We could get that done if we had a governor who cared more about the people of Texas than he does his own political career or his fealty to the NRA. And if you need any proof of that, check the schedule for the NRA's convention this Friday right here in the state of Texas. 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history right in this state on his watch. What does he do about it? He goes to the NRA convention to brag about how easy he has made it to purchase guns in this state and to carry them publicly without a background check, without any training or vetting whatsoever. It is absolutely wrong. In fact, it is insane. The governor talks about mental health. It is insane that we allow an 18-year-old to go in and buy an AR-15. What the hell did we think he was going to do with that? This one is on us.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time to make this political?
Now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after El Paso was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the time to stop the next shooting. And in each case, we say this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. That's what we want as a state. That's what I want as a parent. I've got 3 kids who are in high school and middle school and elementary school. That's what they want. And I face their judgment and my conscience and ultimately my maker for what I do when I have the chance to change this. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change this. And I am not alone. The majority of Texas is with us on this right now. The majority of Texas is not reflected by that governor or those people around the table who talk about mental health care or say that this is pure evil or that it was absolutely unpredictable. This is predictable. It will happen, and it will continue to happen until we change course. We've got to change course.
This time, after all the other times you failed to make change, what has changed this time that makes you so certain?
You know, there are some, and I saw the line, I don't know who said it. They said, listen, the debate on responsible gun laws ended the day after Sandy Hook, the day after the Congress was unable to pass meaningful gun reform. I don't buy that. I think anything that is tough to do in this country is going to require sometimes years, sometimes decades, sometimes millions of us coming together. But we have the will. We are going to do this. I'm absolutely confident of it. Everyone is going to do all that they can with what they have, where they are. Right now, it is us here in Uvalde doing this right now. There are others across the state of Texas who are with us. I'm confident that we're going to overcome. I don't know when, and I don't know how, but I do know that we've got to do everything that we can with what we have. We have got to try.
Hablar sobre el estado mental de la gente. Pero lo más frustrante para usted y el punto que quiere hacer usted esta tarde es que
pues vamos a continuar con las masacres aquí en Texas si no cambiamos las leyes sobre las armas que tenemos aquí y también la oportunidad de ir a un doctor para su salud mental. Pero si no cambiamos, vamos a tener cada año, cada semana, cada día en este estado. La responsable es con nosotros y tenemos que ser responsables a nuestros hijos y nietos porque va a continuar si no cambiamos.
Específicamente, ¿qué está pidiendo usted al gobernador esta tarde y por qué lo interrumpió?
Necesitamos cambiar las leyes del estado. Por ejemplo, necesitamos un background check, una revisión universal para cada persona que quiere comprar armas en este estado. Necesitamos red flag laws para que podamos parar un masacre antes que pasa. Necesitamos, como se dice, safe storage laws para que niños no pueden usar las armas de sus padres. Y necesitamos ofrecer más oportunidades, ir a un doctor. Somos el último estado en acceso de salud mental. We're 50th in access to mental health care. All of these things are within the power of the governor and the lieutenant governor and the speaker of the legislature that are up there right now. We can change this. Podemos cambiar. Tenemos el poder. Gracias.
What do you say to almost certain criticism from your opponents that you're trying to capitalize politically on the gun trade?
I'm trying to do something before it happens again. And as I said earlier, I wish somebody had stood up after Santa Fe, after Sutherland Springs, after El Paso, after Midland, Odessa. It's never the right time. It's never a good time. This is the only time that we are all focused on what just happened. It's the only time to call for the action that we need that's going to prevent this from happening again. And I know that there are a majority of us of good conscience and goodwill in the state of Texas, of all political parties, of all backgrounds, who want to do the right thing. And I'm just saying right now is the time to do the right thing.
Are you going to be meeting with family members, or have you already?
I have. I've been talking to family members. I'm going to be meeting with some family members. I've been talking with the county judge, the county commissioner, people within the community. As you know, this is a community I've been to, and it's a community that I want to continue to come back to. And I just want to do everything that I can right now. And in addition to offering our prayers and our support and our resources, we must lead and we must act.
You once said we're going to take your AR-15s. Are you ready to say that again today?
No one should have an AR-15. There is no reason, unless you are a soldier on a battlefield, because that is a weapon of war designed to take human life. That high impact, high velocity round shreds everything inside of your body once it makes impact. You are supposed to bleed out when you're shot, and that's exactly what happens. You don't need it for hunting. You don't need it for self-defense. So my position is the same. No one should have an AR-15 or an AK-47.
Okay, we're hearing from Beto O'Rourke. We are going to, yes, one of the families wants to meet. Yeah. For those of you who are still listening in, we are now walking with Beto O'Rourke. He is planning to meet with one of the families of those victims in that horrific shooting.
They want us to act. The families from
so we are still waiting for Beto O'Rourke to make it back to us right now.
I thought that we would do something after all that. 23 people killed on a Saturday before school started in August of 2019. Kids who watched their grandparents and parents.
We're going to go back to Beto for the
a high school freshman who was killed right before the first day of school. The governor came, did the same damn thing in our community, and not only did nothing improve, he made it worse. He signed permitless carry. Law enforcement, police chiefs, sheriffs begged him not to. They said, listen, Governor, it's going to make our job deadlier. It's going to make it tougher for us to protect those that we were sworn to serve. He turned his back on law enforcement and did it anyhow. Texas leads the nation in the number of law enforcement who've been gunned down. We've seen a spike in gun violence, and though he said this was unpredictable, this is totally predictable given what the governor has done.
I'm from El Paso. That's actually my mom's Walmart. But I just want to ask, in your conversations with the families, are they saying, we don't care about politics, or are, we have to protect our kids? What are they saying to you?
The families are in shock. The families are grieving. I talked to one father who said his wife was talking to a counselor while I was talking to him. They just lost their baby girl. And he doesn't know, I wouldn't know what to say. And I can only imagine, and we all hate to imagine that. And hopefully we never experience that. But we owe them something. We owe them something. We owe this country something. We owe our kids something. We owe the children in the next school where a gunman's going to walk in with an AR-15 unless we intervene and stop that. We owe them something. And that's why I'm here. It's on all of our conscience right now. It's on yours too, and I know as members of the press, maybe you can't say anything. You have got to be feeling this right now, and you've got to see that the road that we're on will lead to more of these shootings unless we change it. It's on us to change it.
You call this theater. Someone called this theater. What's your response to those calling this interrupting?
I call this change. I call this change.
Necessary because of change.
No, 1 sec, Beto, please, from ABC News,
I'm sorry. I'm going to go talk to his dad.
Okay, for those of you who are
calling you a sick son of a bitch.
What do you call him?
A sick son of a bitch.
The only thing that is
Well, you just saw an incredible scene there. This happening in Uvalde, Texas. The Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, delivering some remarks there. He was actually wrapping up his news conference. He was about to hand the mic over to his lieutenant governor, that's Dan Patrick, but before Mr. Patrick had a chance to say anything, Beto O'Rourke, the gubernatorial candidate, of course, from El Paso, walked toward the stage and started confronting the governor, people yelling at Beto O'Rourke that he was, quote, out of line. But O'Rourke saying to the governor that he had a chance to do something after his hometown of El Paso, of course, the Walmart shooting back on August 3rd of 2019. O'Rourke saying the governor had a chance to do something after that and didn't. He was then, as you saw, they're escorted out of the venue into the parking lot, followed by just a mob, a crush of reporters there. Definitely, though, adding fuel to the fire coming up in the November election.
That's right. Now, Beto O'Rourke was saying this is the time for change, and we have a look at that scene. We're going to show that to you right now.
Sit down. Don't pull a stunt.
Hey, was after El Paso.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No.
You're offering us nothing. This is not predictable. This is totally predictable when you choose.
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium.
From a citizen, as a public servant. They violated our rights.
Now, once again, Beto O'Rourke was escorted from Governor Greg Abbott's press conference on that deadly shooting in Uvalde, Texas.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you saw there he came toward the stage, interrupting the governor and asking, quote, how many more children have to die? Now, as we have previously reported, a gunman opened fire at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, killing 19 children, also 2 teachers as well. Police say the shooter, an 18-year-old man from the area, was also killed during that incident. The El Paso community, however, is also mourning with the families of the victims whose lives were drastically cut short by this senseless, violent act. El Paso County Judge Ricardo Samaniego sharing his thoughts.
It was really difficult for me to process it. It was devastating that something like that would happen. But I think we have to embrace the pain and what we're feeling and make a determination that each one of us has to do something in one way or the other to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
And of course, El Paso Mayor Oscar Leeser also sharing his thoughts, saying the following, quote, our hearts break in El Paso for the children and teachers lost in the shooting in Uvalde, Texas. It is particularly shattering that the most innocent of souls were targeted, but that is not the end of the local reaction.
Now, of course, ahead of today's press conference, El Paso native and Texas gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke also reacting by simply saying, quote, our broken hearts are with Uvalde. In the meantime, Senator Ted Cruz saying, quote, we've seen too many of these shootings. No parent should have to bear the pain of burying their child. We need to come together as one nation and support Uvalde as they try to heal from this devastating loss. And President Biden ordering flags at the White House, federal buildings, and military posts to be flown at half-staff for the victims of the deadly shooting in Uvalde. The flags will be flown at half-staff through Saturday as, quote, a mark of respect for the victims of the senseless acts of violence, end quote.